Everybody, it's Hyper, and I'm back with another episode of Guns and Games. And in this series, basically what I'm doing is I am trying to, uh, I guess, educate and expose people to more firearms that we see in our day-to-day lives and in our pop culture, with the hopes that people will gain a better understanding of the firearms themselves. They learn how to respect them, handle them properly, and to not be afraid of them. That way, we have a better future, not only for the rights of firearms and people who use them in a law-abiding manner, as well as making the world a safer place for everyone. So I thought a really good way to do that would be through video games, because everybody knows guns and games, right? So anyways, that's the purpose of this video. So definitely stay for the history or stay for the tutorial. Either way, that's what we're here for. So I will let you guys see in the actual video. Peace. Today we're going to be covering another optic, and this is none other than the legendary combo of the PSO or POSP style scope and the one and only Dragunov rifle. The scope we have is the PSOP in-game, which is based on the real-life POSP 2 to 6 by 24 scope. This is a surprisingly wallet-friendly optic that is a production model of the PSO-1 optic, which is essentially a military knockoff that was designed to circumvent former Soviet and now Russian defense export laws, so they can still make money off this design. PSO stands for Прицел Снайперский Оптический. I probably pronounced that completely wrong, but I don't really care. The PSO rifle scope was originally developed alongside and specifically for the legendary Dragunov 6v1 or SVD rifles in the early 1960s as part of a Russian modern marksman or sniper system program for Russian forces. The Soviets were ahead of their time in this regard, and they knew the importance of having a medium to long range precision rifle, relatively speaking, quote-unquote precision, that was easy to produce and train troops on using this new optic. This optic is unique because it was one of the first mass-produced rifle optics with both a built-in range estimator, which is called the Simonov rangefinder, which was revolutionary, as well as a bullet drop compensator developed specifically for military use. Because it was so effective, it is one of the most recognizable reticles, and it is still popular to this day, with precision shooters and hunters alike still using them on their weapons all over the world. The POS rifle scopes are also typically illuminated, such as the one in SCUM, which will glow a bright reddish orange in low light conditions. The one in real life is controlled by the switch on the side here. They have a quick mount system that can retain a zero and be taken on and off with the operation of a simple tension lever. This means it does not need any separate mounting system or collimation tools to be effective. And it also makes it very modular, so if you have an SVD rifle in the field, you can just pop on a scope anytime to make it a sniper system. One key difference between the early POS-1 and POSP optics is that the military POS-1 had a solar-powered infrared detector that was able to illuminate the reticle when infrared light was picked up by the sensor. This was so revolutionary at the time because early Generation Zero United States military night vision, such as the M2, had a significant IR signature caused by the illuminator that was used to allow you to see with it. This allowed the user of the scope to know that they were aiming at a target emitting such wavelengths of light. If they were aiming near a potential United States target at nighttime, it would literally glow for them. While this is no longer effective as NVG technology has advanced leaps and bounds, we don't really require the same types of illumination. At the time, this was a remarkable technology to be in the hands of the individual foot soldier. These rifle scopes were quite literally decades ahead of their time, and are still prevalent on battlefields of today, with wide use seen from both sides during the current war in Ukraine. A testament to the ability of these optics to stand the test of time, to say the least. Commie boos everywhere rejoice at the mere sight of the POS scope, claiming it is amazing and infallible, able to shoot down an SR-71 out of the sky when in capable hands, and that it is blessed by the ghost of Vasily Zaitsev himself. If you don't know who Vasily Zaitsev is, well, you should be proud of yourself because you're probably not a commie boo. They believe that anyone who doesn't think it is the epitome of polished glass is just a dirty capitalist propagandist. Huh. While I admit it is overall an impressive marvel of Soviet engineering, it is by no means perfect. The prisms used are not of the best quality. The lenses are known to be unclear or yellow tinted even, and the magnesium alloy frame is a key point of ridicule from Western critics, as its durability is brought into question frequently. On the upside, it doesn't weigh a lot. Communist manufacturing for the lose, as usual. Although it definitely is battle proven, these faults are founded in some truth, especially when compared to the modern NATO combat optics. They tend to break. Then again, all things considered, at the price point in 2022, it is just under $500 for all of these features I talked about. I would say that's some good old-fashioned war crimes in the making. Inflation be damned. Now, if you want one in real life, you'll be disappointed because unless you get one surplus, you will not get the military-grade POS-1 optic. And if you want the contemporary, freshly manufactured POSP scope, you'll need to ask yourself the moral question. Do I want to give my hard-earned capitalism money to the oppressive state of Belarus? Because that's where it's made. But let's be honest. If you're not willing to sell your soul for those sweet, sweet sniper montages, then why even bother? Otherwise, just go back to Fortnite. Because you're weak, your bloodline is weak, you will not survive the winter on the Eastern Front. But I'm pretty sure the SVD's in Fortnite too. I'm not positive. Either way, whatever, Fortnite bad. Let's move on. The freedom of moral-based purchasing decisions is one of the greatest benefits of capitalist society. And we wouldn't even have the civilian versions of the POSP in modern day without it. So, take that, commies. All kidding aside, it can only be purchased by Western customers from a company called Kalinka Optics, which is a US importer of Eastern European tactical gear and neo-Soviet LARP swag. Seriously though, if you're a commie boo or an airsofter, you will love this site. Anyways, they source all of their POS scopes from the Zenit Belomo themselves, the Belarus-based origin of the POS scopes, and their only producer in modern day. If after hearing all of this, you still have no moral objections to giving Belarus your sweet, sweet Freedom Fair tickets, and you don't mind helping Daddy Bezos finance another yacht, you can just buy it with one click on Amazon. Capitalism, allowing communism to exist since always. Now that you have all this useless information about an optic you will probably never use, or even see for that matter in real life, let's get on to wasting said life and talking about how you can use this rifle in our favorite escape from this hellscape reality. Video games! This style of scope has been seen in almost every game featuring the Soviet sniper rifles. Hundreds of them, as well as the TV shows and movies I mentioned. And this includes our own modern games like Tarkov and SCUM. For my examples, I'll be using SCUM. And that's because Tarkov is a sweat lodge that's filled with more I Woulda veterans and Slav simps than even your local university. Seriously, you don't need flashbangs in Tarkov. To scare and disorient rival PMCs, just throw a stick of deodorant in the general vicinity. It'll be just as effective, I promise. Only a lot cheaper. Anyways, let's get to it. In-game, the POSP scope can be used on the 3 special purpose AK-style rifles, including the VSS, AS Val, and SVD rifles, without the requirement of the RIS adapter to use. So if you have the POSP and any of these rifles, you're in luck. Just drag and drop it onto the rifle while it's in your hands, and you are ready to spread famine and poverty by liberating those naive capitalists from their oppression wrought from their full bellies, thoughts of free speech, and their fulfilling family life. Now that you have yourself a POSP and compatible rifle, let's talk about how to use it. The POSP has this cool feature on it that allows us to compensate for the drop of bullet along its arcane trajectory, and this is called the BDC, or Bullet Drop Compensator. This allows us to change our sight picture on the fly, as long as we know the distance of the target, that is. These little chevrons are sighted to be the point of aim on target at specific distances, typically in increments of 50 or 100 meters. The PSOP in game is designed with a reticle that is calibrated to the standard issue 7.62 by 54 rimmed ammunition. Because of this, and also the fact that the scope was specifically made for the SVD, we will start with the SVD for our explanation and demonstrations of how to use it. To use the BDC, we simply aim with the tip of the chevron at different distances. Now, I know what you're thinking, but Hyper, how do I know if the democracy-loving filth is 100 or 200 meters away? Well, I have an answer for you. The Soviets, in their impressive foresight, decided to add this little incline right here, called the stadiometric diagram, which is a fancy term for a chart that you use to compare an object with a known measurement at different distances. I know this may be news to some of you glue gulpers, but as you get farther away from an object in your field of view, the object appears to be proportionally smaller. This is because your field of view, and therefore the scope frame of reference, covers a larger area as the subject will remain the same relative size. You don't actually shrink when you get farther away from something, it just looks smaller. This is why when you look at a person 200 meters away, they appear exactly 2 times smaller than someone 100 meters away. They are inversely proportional. Now, if you're one of the degenerates that watches my other content, you know that this is a common feature on modern optics, and that we can use the height of the average combatant, or fighting age male, which is 5 foot 8 inches, sorry ladies, as an easy reference for those capitalist pigs. The POSP site uses a similar metric. The horizontal bar at the bottom says 1,7, which signifies 1.7 meters, or, you guessed it, roughly 5 foot 8 inches. Kinda nifty, right? This corresponds to the different numbers along the curved line in increments of 100 meters. The distance from the designated point on the curve to the horizontal line is supposed to be what the height of a 5 foot 8 inch person looks like at that distance. Therefore, when you superimpose the reticle on the target, the vertical distance from the 2 line on the reticle to the horizontal line at the bottom will be the same as the height from the head to the toes of someone that is 5 foot 8 inches at 200 meters. Pretty intuitive, right? And while I despise communism with a passion, I will admit this is a more precise and also faster method of range estimation than the width method used by ACOG scopes. It does have one large disadvantage though. It requires that your target is standing up straight at any given distance, because if they're laying down or crouched, this reference diagram no longer works. In these cases, you're not without a paddle. You still can do things like compare the size of a bush, a doorway, or a window. It's just not going to be as accurate, and it's going to take some good old Kentucky windage for you to figure out exactly what the calibration should be at any given distance. Now, while a PSOP in-game is compatible with the VSS and AS Val, since they are chambered in subsonic 9x39, rather 760x54 rimmed, the BDC is not made for these rifles. But don't fret, comrades. I will still be able to show you the holds that I found to be accurate for these rifles, at least out to their maximum effective range of about 400 meters. And the range estimation still works perfectly well for these rifles when you account for the reduced velocity. So let's get on to the examples of what it looks like at different distances when you're actually using this scope. Alright, so now that we know how to properly use the range estimation, stadiometric diagram, and the BDC, let's see what it looks like. So you're going to notice that at 100 meters, if I point the very tip of the second chevron from the top at the top of our target's head, you're going to see that the horizontal line is going to be where their feet are. So from the second chevron tip down to the horizontal line, that is how tall your target will appear at 100 meters. And let me cite that. Yeah, we're about 113 meters. So she's going to appear a little bit smaller than that, but it's a rough estimation. So let's go ahead and aim with the top chevron, and let's see where this is hitting. Could you please face the target and show us where our impacts are? Okay, perfect, thank you. Alright, so I'm going to aim dead center at the bullseye, if I can. Alright, I was low right of the bullseye, and it hit low right of the bullseye. So there you go, you aim with the very top center chevron at 100 meters. And you can see that our target is from the second chevron down to the horizontal line, and that's how we can tell how far they are away. Alright, could you go ahead and set up at 300, and we'll start the next part. Alright, now we are set up at 200 meters, and I'm going to show you the range estimation and the BDC at that distance. Now you can see my lovely assistant is set up over there at 200 meters. We can tell by using our cheat codes that SCUM gives us by hitting control, and we can see we are 266 meters away, or it's actually a bit closer than that. Yeah, 216, there you go. And we can tell using just our scope by putting up this stadiometric diagram and put the 2 line on her, and we notice that from head to toe, she goes from the horizontal line up to the 2 line, and she is that exact height, and she definitely fits that sight picture properly. So at this distance, just like with the ACOG scope, we're gonna aim with kind of roughly the crotch of the chevron. It's more or less like the bottom of the chevron. You'll see what I'm talking about. And this is gonna be your sight picture at 200 meters for the rifle. So I'm gonna aim from the like middle of the chevron towards like the bottom of it, and we're gonna see where our rounds hit if I'm aiming center mass. Well, that was a misclick, but you see it hit exactly where I was aiming. Let's see. I'll fire at roughly the shoulder. There you go. At that height, or at that distance, the base of that very top chevron is where you're going to be aiming at 200 meters. All right. So let's set up at 300 meters, and then we'll do the next one. All right, now she's set up at 300 meters. Let's double check to make sure that's 300 meters, just so I can prove I'm not lying. Yep, 307 meters away. Now let's hold up the measurement stadiometric diagram at that 3 line, and you can see she is indeed 300 meters away using this diagram. Using the line between the 4 and the 2, she is the proper height. Now, at this height, you're going to notice that the chevrons are in 200 meter increments. The top one's at 100, the one below that's at 400. So if we want to hit it 300 meters away, we need to aim halfway between those two. So we're going to try and hit center mass, aiming with the distance halfway between the tip of the second chevron and the bottom of the first chevron to see where we're going to be hitting. It should be roughly center mass. Yep, there you go. It hit just where the 9 is. It's not going to be super precise at this distance, but it's better than nothing. That should hit a little high. Yep, a little high of center, and there you go. At 300 meters, you're going to aim halfway between the top and second chevron. All right, we'll set up at 400. We'll be right back. All right. We are set up at 400 meters away. Double check just to make sure we're not crazy. Yep, 407 meters. Let's use our diagram. You can't really see her feet, but we can see based off of the height of her head, we can see the line where the rail meets the ground for the targets. And we can see that at that distance, her head lines up perfectly. So she is indeed 400 meters away. Now, 200 meter increments, the top one is the 100 meters, 200 meters is the base of the chevron, 300 meters halfway below. And the second one, excuse me, it's not 200 meter increments, it's 400 meter increments, you'll see. So we're going to see where we're aiming right here with the tip of the second chevron. And I'm going to aim center mass, and we're going to see where our round hits. Come on, I'll try and get a shot center mass if I can. SCUM doesn't allow you to be super precise with your aiming. It's got like these little jumps. You'll know what I'm talking about if you play. It should be a little high. Yep. Oh, is it dead center? There you go. Dead center using that second chevron at 400 meters. Let's try one more shot just to make sure we're not crazy. That should hit a little high. There you go. A little high of center. And second chevron at 400 meters away. All right. We'll set up at 5, then 6 just to show you the rest of them. All right, you can see that she is set up at 500 meters away. Let's make sure we're not crazy. Should be around 500. Yep, 520 meters. So let's put the horizontal stadiometric line diagram right where she is, between the 4 and the 6. And you'll see her height is right at that 5 line between the 4 and the 6. So she is indeed 500 meters away. So when we're at 500 meters, we're going to aim with the base of that second chevron. So it'll hit a little bit below that. So let's use our base to aim at the target. Fire. We should hit around the chest to the neck. Yep, there we go. Lower chest with the base of the chevron at 500 meters. Let's try for another shot. Aim a little bit lower. See if we can get a headshot. A little bit of pain in the butt. There we go. Center on the head. Yep, just below the base of the second chevron at 500 meters. All right, let's set up at 6 and we'll be right back. All right, we are set up at 600 meters. Let's again check just so I can prove I'm not doing anything wrong. 630 meters, that's about right. Now let's put the 6 above her head, and you can see where the base of the ground is because you can see the railing for the target right there where her feet would be. So we'll put the horizontal line on that and then let the 6 go above her head, and you can see, yep, that's just the perfect height for 600 meters. Now at 600 meters, we're going to aim with the 3rd chevron, the tip of that. And you will see the tip of the 3rd chevron hits a little bit high at 600 meters. So let's do another shot. We'll try and be center mass on this one. Let's see where this one hits. Oh, that's gonna be more of a headshot. A little bit high. Yeah, so it'll shoot right above there. Again, SCUM has this weird way of sniping and using a scope where it like does increments. Like you can't accurately adjust your DPI. It's just the way the game is programmed. Hopefully they change that in the future. But let's try again. Let's try and get a better shot at 600 meters. Come on. Yeah, it should hit around the chest. Yeah, hit a little bit high on the chest at 600 meters with the tip of that 3rd chevron. Now, after this distance, it gets a bit dicey, but she's going to go out to 800 meters. 700 meters is like roughly a 3rd way below the 3rd chevron and the 4th chevron. It's a little bit of a crapshoot at that distance because the accuracy of the rifle kind of deteriorates that far. But I'll show you that if you aim with the tip of the 4th chevron, it should be 800 meters. And we are just going to show you that it's kind of hard to get hits at that distance, but it's definitely possible. All right, we can see from the rangefinder that we are at 830 meters away. Now, it's really hard to see at this distance, but if we put her feet at the base of the line, you can see that her head is just at the curve where the 8 line is, and you're like, yep, she's 800 meters away. So that means we should aim with the 4th stadia line to hit the target at the distance. And again, it's going to be kind of hard at this distance to get a solid hit. But there you see, center mass. I put center mass of the 4th chevron on the target at that distance, and we got a hit center mass, so that works. Let's try another one. Should be a little bit low. There you go. A little bit low center mass again. Perfect. And that's pretty much how you use this sight, guys. I mean, it's pretty straightforward, very intuitive. Now I'm going to run through and show you what the sight pictures and the bullet drop is going to look like for the VSS/AS Val rifles, which are very similar. They use the same round. So I'm just going to use the VSS for the demonstration purposes, and we will wrap this one up. Be right back. All right, if you guys skipped to this part from the SVD part, let me show you how the stadia metric diagram works. You're going to see if I put the 2nd chevron at the very top of her head, the base of her feet are going to be level with that horizontal line just above the 1.7 meter mark. And that's how we know she's 100 meters away. And if I test it, she's at 114 meters, so that's pretty not far. Now, the AS Val and VSS use 9x39 subsonic ammunition, so they drop a lot faster than the 7.62 that the SVD uses. So you're gonna have different holds at different distances. I mean, the range estimation works perfectly fine, but you're gonna have different holds as far as the reticle goes. So if we're aiming at a target 100 meters away, you're going to be aiming with the base of the 1st chevron. So I'm going to aim with the base of the 1st chevron at the center of the target at 100 meters, and let's see where these rounds impact. Yep, dead center, using the base of the chevron at 100 meters. Now let's try and get a nice center headshot. There you go. And let's try and hit the number 7 at the top there. Let's see if I can. Just about, a little bit high. But there you go. That's at 100 meters. You aim at the base of the 1st chevron, and we can see she's 100 meters away by putting the 2nd chevron at the top of her head and putting the line at her feet, and that's how far she is. All right, let's set up over at 200 meters, and let's do another shot. All right, now at around 200 meters, the 9x39 bullet drops like a rock, and this is really where you get the max effective range of like a point target shooting for the AS Val and VSS, and that's what it was designed for. It's very close contact, so we can see that she is just about 216 meters away. put the 2 on the top of her head, the bottom of that line, and the horizontal line is with her feet, so we know, yep, she's definitely 200 meters away. Now, like I said, it drops like a rock. At 100 meters, we aimed with the base of the first chevron. At this distance, we're going to aim with the tip of the third chevron. That's how bad they drop. So let's fire around, and you'll see it hits center with the tip of the third chevron at 200 meters. So let's fire that. And there you go. You can see that it works like that. So we're going to set up at 300 and 400 because the absolute max effective range of the gun in this game is around 400. You can even see if I use the built-in rangefinder or the built-in zero, I can only max out at 400 meters. So the game won't even let you zero it past that, which makes sense because it drops off almost vertical past that point. So she's going to set up right there. It's a pretty short run for her. So at this distance, I'm going to aim with the line. It's kind of hard to gauge, but you'll see what I'm talking about. Let's put this at her head so you know she's at around 300 meters away. Put the 3 line above her. You can see if we put the horizontal line at her feet and 3 line right above her head, her height matches up at that distance. So we know she's that far away. And we'll double check. Yep, 314 meters away. So we're going to put the line on the target and we're going to fire roughly halfway along the line. Did I overshoot? I might have overshot. Yeah. Okay, so we're going to aim, roughly a third the way down from that third chevron. There we go. Yep. All right, so you're aiming like a head's length just below the 4th chevron at that distance at 300 meters. Like literally just one head's length below that is where your point of impact is going to be at 300 meters. So let's try that. Should hit around center. Yep, there we go, center. 1 head height below. Try again. This should be a chest shot. Oh, it was center again, roughly, because it gets way inaccurate at this point. So again, you use a 4th chevron at 300 meters, and about 1 head height below is where your bullets will be impacting. All right, go ahead and set up at 4 really quick, and then we'll see where it impacts at 4. Now 4. Getting accurate gauge at this far is kind of a pain in the butt, so it's going to be a little bit more rough. But we're going to use our range estimation either way at that distance. Now you're going to see this rail running across the floor at 400 meters or across the, what do you call it, the ground. And we're going to use the horizontal line on that, and then we're going to measure the distance to her head at the 4 line. And you can see, yep, she is definitely based off of that 400 meters away. And we are going to aim, I'm going to say halfway down the vertical line and see where this hits for us. Very bottom of the target. All right, so you're aiming, I want to say, what, 3/4 the way down at 400 meters? Yep, 3/4 the way down at 400 meters, and that should get you effects on the target. Yep, there you go, 3/4 of the way down that vertical line. This should be a little bit low. All right, it was actually center mass. And again, the accuracy is a lot of hit and miss at this distance. So you'll get an eye for it with more practice. Oh, come on. It's at that sweet spot where I can't really aim. All right, it should be a little bit high, I hope. Yep, there you go. A little bit above the head. So there you see. All right, simple enough. So you can see the max effective range of this rifle is around 400 meters, the AS Val or the VSS, interchangeably for both of them. And the scope does work. You just have different holds, like I said. Stadiumetric diagram still works perfectly fine because that's independent of the ammo used. And now you guys know how to use the POSP, as it is called in the game, sight. So let's get back to talking about the rest of the parts in the video. So that just about wraps it up for the video. I just wanted to say that the whole purpose I'm making these videos for is to educate people about firearms and to help reduce the stigma and misunderstanding around them. I feel that the more we know about firearms and how to safely handle them, we could not only reduce the unnecessary legislation and fear of them, but also reduce the crime of them, because then everybody knows how to hold each other accountable. Now, I don't want to gatekeep or make anybody uncomfortable. So for these videos, anybody is welcome. I don't care if you identify as something, you're attracted to something, or you're darker or lighter than somebody else, or maybe you pray to a different person or entity. I do not care. Everybody is welcome to my videos, and I think every single person on the planet should be armed. It makes for a protected society and a polite society, and it ensures that I can do things and use the First Amendment and make videos like this. So if you guys appreciate what I'm doing with these, I would definitely really appreciate it if you checked my other content and my other videos and joined us in the Discord. We're a cool group of people, and I just really want to start fostering communities like this, not only in gaming, just in every walk of life. So again, thank you guys so much for watching. I'm going to be putting out more videos like this in the future. I don't make money doing it yet. Maybe I will one day. It's kind of just a hobby right now. I enjoy doing this. But until that day comes, the thing that motivates me is just ensuring that I can get my videos across to people that enjoy them or could learn something from them. So thank you guys so much for the support. I love you all, and I can't wait to see you in future videos. So I will catch you in the next one, and without further ado, peace. God. This is a hard shot, love. Do you see what it looks like on my screen? No way! Oh, I did it! I shot her heart. That's crazy. All right, we did it. Nice.